Hello, legends, and welcome to Blunt Force Healing Podcast, episode number 236. It's day 236, and I'm afraid that this post or this episode will be fairly short, albeit a bit longer than the actual blog post. So, today I wasn't expecting what will happen in the second half, but it caused a lot of chaos, and a couple of hours of today before evening and in the evening were quite hectic. I'll explain it shortly why. So my mother's Facebook account has been hacked, and most of the people might think, especially those that never got the account hacked, that's not a big deal, right? Well, it is. And I'll tell you shortly how it works. The person gained access to the account by sending tailored link specifically created to perform the takeover. On one side, you might think, well, you don't click the link, right? The problem is that this link was sent in a casual message from my mother's friend to her. It looked completely genuine. Of course, some of the people are more aware of scams, some less, most of the people less. And despite what people might think about themselves, we are all pretty naive creatures. Because regardless of how advanced we are and how educated we are, our heads or our initial responses are driven by emotions. We might be able to suppress them if we work on that. We might be good in stopping and thinking. The problem is that even those that know what they should do might get trapped and easily manipulated. This is what we call sociotechniques and what hackers and scammers use all the time. One of the main vectors and aspects of a successful manipulation of a person is to approach them from a perspective of somebody they know, somebody they trust, and even if the message is half dodgy, that's what usually tips that seesaw for the person to actually act on it. When if it would come from anybody else, they wouldn't even flinch and they would immediately reject this as valid or genuine. So that means that my mother's friend's account was already taken over when that message came. And when my mother acted on this message and performed a couple of things that I already gave her out about and was really pissed because, it really is not only sad, but very disappointing, especially that I'm a person that lives in security space for a long time. I was a lot of times preaching about it and saying to people to not use simple passwords, to not reuse passwords, to do a lot of stuff that could have protected them. Use two-factor or multi-factor authentication. There's a lot of things that we think that are pain in the arse or unnecessary measures until it happens. And the worst part is that this takeover is not just for the sake of takeover or hack. This person, immediately after gaining access to the account, changed the email address to some random email address that we cannot decipher, and also disconnected the phone number from the account. So any attempt of a standard recovery won't work. Phone is no longer connected with the account, so it cannot be used. And if you recover via email, the email that my mother used before doesn't exist on Facebook anymore because it has been changed, and the account now requires different email address to log in. And guess what? If you try to recover it, it will ask you if it has to send the verification code to that email address. So it's completely of no use. And that's kind of message to Facebook, although I know that nobody from Facebook will be hearing that out. This is a lot of bullshit. I went through a lot of different weird ways when Facebook assumed that I did something wrong on the account, so I had to reset the password, or they protected me because I was logging from different location or unusual device because it was a new device, for example. And there was even a situation where I had to provide my ID documents to verify that I am who I am before I can regain access to the account, because it was logged from a unknown location. And yet all these measures are now against the genuine owner of the account. So my mother cannot regain access to the account because the only security measure that was left depends on hackers' email address. And just to give you a little glimpse of what was before, I think still about 1 or 2 years ago, there were options provided by Facebook to use the old email address or old password to reattempt the recovery, or other means, like, for example, uploading the IDs to verify and recover the account. And in theory, when that person changed the email address of my mother's account, there's automatic email being sent to the original address, which is my mother's, which she still has access to, that's supposed to inform about that change and provide the link to revert that change. And I can confirm that the email got delivered, and it has some link where you click "that wasn't me," but it redirects you to recovery of the account, and you end up being asked to trigger a recovery code that will be sent, guess where? To the new email address that belongs to a hacker. So, sorry Facebook, that's a big fail. I see a lot of people being very upset because there is the support is non-existent in Facebook. You can't really speak to any real person or talk or chat to any real person. There's no email address that you can contact. So you're really on your own. Any help center pages are pretty much useless and lead to the same place where it's always ending up with you being asked to send verification code to the scammer's email address. I'm not even calling that hacker because it just doesn't feel like hacker. It feels like somebody just playing around and doing a lot of bad vibe and hassle to, and kind of using naivety of others for, apologies, I'm really tired, for their own gain. So, but it's not only the sad part here, unfortunately. I'm still trying to find the way to, and I think I found one form that I might be able to use to get to Facebook support and upload the ID documents for my mother to regain access. The worst part is that the person that took over my mother's account immediately started the same process against about thousands of followers that my mother has on Facebook. You can imagine potential amount of victims, and she already received different calls from trusted friends that were asking if she received the confirmation code, which she didn't ask for. That means the scammer is likely using the discovered details like phone numbers, email addresses to attempt different banking sites. And obviously, many people use the same details for other portals across the internet, including banking. So they probably gained access to the bank account and tried to transfer money out of it. The good thing that many people complain about is that European Union required all the banks to start implementing the extra security measure for transactions, which is sort of second factor authentication within the app on the trusted device, usually a mobile phone. So my mother received the actual prompt to confirm transaction. This bank that my mother uses does not provide the amount of money in the notification. So she didn't know how much that person wanted to transfer, but obviously I told her to never ever do what she did again, and especially on the banking app. And she checked the account, it's all safe and sound, so it's okay. But there are still banks that do not use that. So if somebody gained the access, they might attempt some other other verification code and transfer a lot of money. And this is what might happen to many people that followed my mother. And I suspect that many of them get accounts hacked, and some of them already did. So this is a very dangerous operation with a real financial risk, and that's what took me last couple of hours of the day trying to tackle the topic and help my mother regain the access. But we are still in the woods. And on top of that, I still have some cleaning to do. It's at the moment 23:35, so I have barely 25 minutes to finish that episode and upload it. And the disadvantage of that hectic evening and afternoon is that I missed my committed deadline for the blog post that I written up just a couple of minutes ago. We are about 16 minutes in to this episode recording, so yeah, it was probably 17 minutes ago that I finished the blog post. So I slipped, and I will recover tomorrow. I'm not sure how it will end. I will describe all the process in the next 1, 2, or maybe 3 blog posts and episodes, so stay tuned if you're interested how it works. There's additional cherry on top of that sad world that we live in. Not only people and scammers trying to gain at the cost of others, and naivety or lack of knowledge in certain areas, but when I tweeted that thing about my mother's account being hacked and tagged Facebook, you wouldn't believe how many responses and likes I've got telling me to, oh, I can help, or contact these guys, they helped me out with the account. And if I wouldn't be in the security space for so long, I would probably respond to those messages and start a recovery process. The problem is that first, these messages were too fast to arrive, in my opinion. And they were very much interesting, because if you looked at all those accounts that were posting, they were very small accounts with a little bit of following or almost none. When I went to their tweets, they were repetitive tweets of the same content to others complaining about having accounts hacked on different social platforms. And when I've checked the Instagram pages of those so-called ethical hackers, all of this seems so dodgy that I realized I was just spammed by bots and people waiting for hashtag Facebook be used and to attempt. And I don't know, there might be some genuine people out there behind it, but it feels like it's other scamming operation on top of scamming operation, which is so ugly that it makes me sick to know that such people exist on this planet and they can still sleep well knowing that they are screwing others that were screwed already. So it's like beating a dying person. It's ridiculous. And yeah, if I will find the way to do it, I will spread the word and the method on YouTube, on blog, and repost it to as many people as I can from those that were also contacted by those bots on Twitter. So wish me luck, because tomorrow is a stormy day. We are going to Dublin and picking up my mother-in-law. So it will be a full day of excitement and different relocations and driving. I'm really sorry. I'm so tired today already, and mentally and physically. So let me just post it and get back to the last bit of my cleaning. I'll hit the hay, as we say. Oh, that was a great rhyme. Hit the hay, as we say. That's a joke. Anyway, yes, I'll be finishing it up now. I'll wrap up and let you go. Thank you very much for coming and staying for so long. I was expecting it to be much, much shorter, but it turned out to be a full-length episode. So not that bad. If blog post was short, at least I maintained the relative length of an audio episode and the video episode for YouTube. So once again, thank you very much for being here and spending the time with me. If you are interested in how it goes further on and how you can protect your account, I will be expanding on that later on. For now, I am focusing on tomorrow's busy day, and in between, I'll try to get my mother back on track. And I have a feeling that if I'll get any support from the white hat community, I might even try to track down this guy, this scammer. Because if he's not using or she's not using the VPN, I know the location where they are coming from. It's Warsaw in Poland. And especially I know the device that they are using. It's Android. And it's, I believe, my 10T or whatever version. So I can easily provide that information, including the IP address and a couple of other elements, to potential supporting white hat to try and track down that person, and maybe, just maybe, get a proper revenge and make sure that they pay what they deserve. All right, that's 23 minutes in. I'm going offline, signing out, whatever. Thanks again. Have a great rest of the day, afternoon or evening, wherever you are. Appreciate your time and stay tuned. See you tomorrow.